Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 1111 podcast, the only podcast to give you all sides on every story. It's your boy Armani Najee, aka Way V, and we're back. As usual, I'm here with some of my best friends. Bishop,
Yes, sir. JB Bishop, the brown skinned boy. We in the building tonight.
Nick,
It's your boy. I can't even say my whole phrase today, man.
I
I'm
feel
I'm
that.
just not feeling it.
I understand. J Baby,
Hey, what's up, y'all? Jalen.
Kylu, Skylar.
Hey,
Yeah,
y'all. It's
it's actually
uh,
Sky. Um,
She's gonna
yeah,
sue us.
for real.
The
Uh,
label's gonna cut this.
right.
Des isn't here today, obviously. We're gonna keep it pushing on. So we decided to cut these episodes in. Again, like I said yesterday, if y'all watched the PSA, um, we're gonna make these episodes shorter than as usual so we can push more out so we can be able to cover everything that's going on. So today the goal is just to give kind of the beginning. The beginning, we're gonna give a summary. If you don't know what's been going on, if you've been living underneath a rock for the past 4 days, I don't know how you haven't heard of it. If the Amish are able to hear of it, then I don't know how y'all ain't hear of it. We can give an overview of that, and we're gonna talk about all the protest and our thoughts on it today. Javi, take it away.
All right, guys. So as you know, probably the thing that's really just sweeping the nation right now is the murder of George Floyd. Um, I'm not gonna play the I'm not gonna play the video because that's graphic, and I don't think anyone needs to see that at this point. But yeah, the officer Derek Chauvin, he was um, he was arrested, charged with third-degree murder. I think it should be first-degree murder because he definitely
Was
intended.
intentional.
That was an intentional death. He intentionally killed George Floyd, and I just don't think some of the things some of the things that have happened since the death of George Floyd in this country have been, number one, truly amazing, and then also number two, just really fucking scary. And I some of it is just hard to even think about. Like we have we have these riots, but they're starting to become about things that they weren't about at first, and a lot of division on both sides about what's right and what's wrong, and a lot of different perspectives that feel like we're not being seen or we're not being heard, and it's all valid. I feel like we all saw that video of that man kneeling on George Floyd's neck, and that's not something that we're gonna unsee. That's not something that there's nothing we can do to bring George Floyd back. So I think right now is the time for us to keep talking about it, keep discussing it, keep doing whatever we need to do in the spirit of activism, um, to make sure that we get justice for George Floyd. Yes, as I said before, the officer was arrested, but that was just one of the officers. There was four on the scene. Only Officer Chauvin has been arrested. The other officers that were holding George down, and the officer that was standing by next to the lady that was recording, they have yet to face any charges. Chauvin tried to flee from Minnesota to Florida. He tried to flee to Florida. That did not work. They found him. They found his address. They put it on social media. It was very, very real. They showed up at that man's house, both of his houses in both states. So yeah, it was a we didn't think that we were going to get any charges pressed, any charges filed. We didn't think we'd see an arrest, but we did, and I'm grateful for that. But things happen. They arrested Zimmerman too. He eventually got off. You know, they arrested Epstein, and he killed himself. So there's a there's a lot to there's a lot to be done in the legal system before we can officially celebrate the arrest of Officer Chauvin. But that's the general summary of what's been going on with the George Floyd situation, as far as charges being pressed and what's happening in the aftermath. Do you guys have anything else you want to say about that?
From what I've read so far, that the other three officers in question are in the process of being charged of something. Of course, it hasn't been released to the public yet. Also, it's been reported that the officer who has been charged, his wife is filing for divorce and is asking for all of us to lay off of her family and give them time to process everything that's going on while she's going through her divorce as well. This is what I've read. I'm not sure if it's true or not yet. I'm not trying to put it out there and be like, oh, this is what she's asking for. This is just what I've read on some news sites and seeing if it's true or not. I still
I
need to
think
do more research on it.
I think personally, when it comes to things like or crimes in general, I feel like the public always does this thing to where it's like, oh, that'll be as if like, for example, if I commit a crime and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, well, I might commit a crime. Bishop, just go out to Bishop, just go to jail, let's go out to Nick. I don't like when the public does that, when they go for people who are connected to your family, because at the same time, crime people crime happens every day. I mean, murders happen, like crazy things happen every day, and you can't be like, oh, that's your husband, you didn't know. I mean, like things like that. It's like maybe there were signs. I mean, he has been charged with police brutality before. I mean, that's fact.
Quite an extensive record
Yeah,
of
it's like
police
10, I
These
think.
brutality.
are some
But point being, at the end of the day, it's like what someone does on their job. I don't want to say it correlates because sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. That's still her husband. That's someone she fell in love with. Like like in reality, your job is just a small portion of who you are as a being. In a sense, like I wouldn't say, oh, you're a cop, so your life revolves around this and that. I mean, there's so much more to that person. So I'm saying, like, when it comes to his wife, I don't think you should target the wife for that. Like, I don't know why she's even being a target. She didn't do anything.
In my
Um,
personal opinion, just out of the blue, I don't believe in targeting the family in that sense, but I do understand the feeling that you happen to love somebody who was capable of doing this.
Mhm.
So I feel the need that you are somewhat responsible as well, and that might be the process that most Americans see and feel when they see, oh, he did this. Well, he's connected to this person, this person, this person, and this person. They must be just as responsible as he is. It's not always the case. It just happens to be just a one-off. It just happens to be just that person in particular. And I understand your point of just not targeting that person. But I feel like if this is true, and she came out and said that, it's her way of saying that, hey, I am an individual. I do have my own different sets of circumstances of how I feel about the situation. Don't take your anger out on me just because
right.
the person I happen to be connected with happens to be responsible for the
And
situation.
one thing I do want to do is, if since she's outright saying, "Hey, give me my space, give me my family space," I do want to hear her side of the story. I do want to hear what she has to say personally. I want to hear what she has to say. Like, has she? I mean, of course, she knows about the other 10 cases. I think it's 10. I don't know if that's the exact number. It's the number I saw on social media was 10. So I'm gonna say 10. I want to hear what she has to say about the other 10 cases. Or I don't want to hear her defend him per se, but I want to hear how she feels, if that makes sense.
I personally, hmm,
I do too,
I get you.
because
No, you can go ahead.
because it was previous cases to this one,
Mhm.
but it was this specific case that blew up, and now she's like, well, you gave me the number 10. I'm not sure if that's actually accurate, but based off what you're saying, it was 10 other people before George. So she had 10 opportunities to see that, hey, he is doing this to people.
Mhm.
Why am I still with this
Because
man?
people are now.
But it
That's
took
why.
one case to blow up, people to find out where she stays, to torment them, tarnish her husband's name, tarnish her family's name for her to be like, oh, divorce. Me personally, and I can understand why multiple people also feel like this. In my eyes, I feel like she's trying to save her ass.
Yeah.
That's just how I feel. I feel like she's trying to save her ass and her family, or trying to do whatever she can do, because some people might look at it as, oh, she divorced him. Maybe she doesn't feel that way. But there were multiple people before her. I mean, before George.
Yeah.
Like, I don't. That's just me.
I mean,
That's
like
just me,
at the same time, it's like I feel it's when it comes to marriage in general, it's so much behind. That's like marriage is literally behind closed doors. Like none of us are there in that relationship. You never know what's going on. Like it's so much extra that could be added on there. Like for example, maybe, and I don't know the research on these other 10 cases either. They could be. I mean, yeah, I feel like police brutality, regardless. At the same time, it is kind of levels to the shit because killing somebody and then pushing somebody are two completely different things. It could be 10 minor charges of police brutality, and this is like the one major where she's like, babe, hey, you can't do that, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this. And he's like, okay, cool, I'm working on it, I got charged again. Babe, you can't be doing that. Like, even though the number is quote unquote 10 at the moment, I feel like 10 is a really high number. But even then, this is a marriage you're talking about. Do they have kids?
No, they do not have any kids from that marriage. So
Okay.
apparently she doesn't have any kids from him, but she might have had a previous marriage where she had kids. This is
Okay.
what the story I read. I don't know if she has kids or not, or if he has kids or not. I'm still trying to do my own research, still trying to figure out how to piece everything together. But this is what I've read so far up until this point.
My thing is apparently one of the other officers,
Yeah.
the other three, is her brother. So with that being said, like
that added a little heat to the fire to me. I was
that's
like,
a jump ship. That's a jump ship. In my head, she's like trying to divorce her husband. She's trying to side with her brother and be like, no, my brother isn't like this. Then my husband, terrible person. But my brother, no, not my brother. Like that's what it looked like to me. And I'm not fucking with it.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's like, okay, I read that like one of the police officers also there, and the other three was her brother. So it's like when it comes to her being like, hey, leave my family alone, it's like it's so much that can mean. It can be like, hey, look, I don't know, I didn't know they was like this. I didn't know they was doing this. Let me say, I'm trying to separate myself. It could be her like, ooh, let me save my ass. It could be also her like, hey, my husband's a horrible person, but my brother, hey, I want to hear like again, I want to hear his side of the story too.
I don't think she quoted like a brother. I know she said I know what in the article I read, it was, please don't attack her. Please don't attack her elderly parent. And then a couple other people. I'm not trying to misquote the article that I read.
Well, I feel like we discussed that family enough, that side of the family. I want to show y'all that clip of George Floyd's brother.
The one of him in Houston?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we can talk about that a little bit. And I just want to see where y'all heads are about that. Because I feel some type of way watching this. I'm not going to lie.
What we don't realize is this. What everybody don't realize is this is not the East Coast. This is not Minnesota. These people will hide you in their front yard. I'm telling you. This is not the East Coast. This is Texas. That's all we're trying to do is prevent other people from getting hurt or going to jail. It's a way to do things. It's a way to handle things. That's all we're saying. Tearing shit up changes nothing. Proves nothing. They've been tearing shit up, rising money for 100 years. Hey, let me ask you, see, when you say that, let me tell you something. The first cop is being charged. They started riding out there because the other three wasn't charged. See, when y'all act off y'all emotions and not getting back, you're doing stuff wrong. But I'm saying what you're doing here is wrong because we're trying to get ahead officer out here to explain to us how we will always be safe when we get stopped. See, that's what we're trying to do, but y'all are inconveniencing us to even get them now because y'all got them all here. Look behind y'all. I want to step out and look behind y'all.
Hold on, I forgot to pause it. My bad. There we go. So yeah, about that. Personally, I feel like I had some mixed feelings when I saw that. I personally because I understand where this all started. Let me just say that before I even go any further than that, because a lot of people are still seeing the first, what started in Minnesota, the Target riot, raid, looting. That was an entirely different case in regards to like the looting that's happening in Atlanta, in Houston, and other cities. The reason why that Target was looted is because they were refusing to sell milk and water to the people that were getting tear gassed and the people that were protesting in the streets of Minnesota. So those people, after being refused to be serviced after protesting, they looted that Target because I mean that's I don't object to that at all. I don't. But then when we get down to, it's like his brother said, this is not Minnesota. This is Texas. This is not Minnesota. This is Texas. And
We definitely
yeah,
got to say how powerful his brother is to say that there's a difference in where you are versus where it happened.
yeah, and
A lot of people like to not take that in consideration. Hey, this happened in Minnesota. What they doing in Minnesota, we can do right here. But every state has a different history.
Yeah.
Texas is notorious for how they treated Black people in the past and what they were willing to do to Black people who decide to act out in a certain way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like me thinking about what was happening in the country in general, in my city, and in Minnesota, watching this clip, it kind of put it into perspective for me. Definitely me personally, I didn't play the beginning where the lady was kind of arguing with him, but me personally, like if I'm out here protesting for George Floyd and George Floyd's brother tells me, let's be peaceful, let's put a rest to this, everybody go home, be safe, I feel like I don't have a choice anymore but to go home and be safe and support as much as I can without being physically in the streets. Because I mean, at the end of the day, there's no way we can know what George Floyd would want, but there is a way that we can respect the wishes of the family who lost a father or a brother or a cousin, an uncle, anything. They lost somebody. So I think there's definitely, we should definitely respect their wishes. If there's anybody to listen to in a time like this, I think it should be them. So
I think the reason why it's I don't even have the word for it. I feel, well, I just want to start with that video in general and just like kind of dissecting it. I'm kind of upset with the way these protests are going on, or the way that people are doing these protests. For example, the way I like the Discovery Green one. It was a peaceful protest. That one was completely, I loved it. That was amazing. Shout out to Black Lives Matter Houston. That was amazing. But what I don't like is in that video, I completely agree with his brother on that one, because they're in the middle of a highway. And to me, it's like, okay, cool, you protesting, but what does that accomplish? Because what if I'm leaving work? What if I'm in that traffic? What if I'm trying to get to the protest? You know what I mean? Like, it's a highway. What does that solve? That isn't, it's not a, it's, that doesn't, that this causes a problem. Because then if someone gets out that car and gets upset, now you got like what, over 100 people ready to fight that one person. When that one person, honestly, it's like, dog, I'm just trying to get home from work.
we saw that today. We saw that happen today.
Yeah, like, I'm just trying to get home from work. I have a family. Like, at the end of the day, people got their own things going on, and it's not that they don't care about the situation. It's just, again, everyone's life is different. Not everybody's able to go outside and protest. Not everybody's able to go and do certain things. Sometimes all you got enough time to do is go to work and come home, provide for your family, and do the same thing the next day, and do the same thing the next day until maybe you off on Sunday. Like, so when it came to that video, I completely agree. I was just like, yo, and I have mixed feelings on that lady at the beginning too, because it's like, how you gonna tell this man? And like I think it's crazy because again, I feel like this one was literally the straw that broke the camel's back for everybody. Except some people are now we're handling because it's sad to say, but I feel like I've gotten numb to it because I felt the way that lady felt in the beginning of the video when like she was just boohoo crying is the way I felt when Trayvon got hit. That's the way I was that in that type of emotion. I was in that mental state. But now I'm calm. Okay, cool, it happened. So I can't say that everybody needs to be calm because for some people this is their Trayvon. You know what I'm saying? In a sense, this is their Trayvon. This may be their breaking point. So for her, I'm like, okay, I understand. So I can't be like, okay, she needs to chill with all that crying stuff because for her, this may be her Trayvon in a sense. This may be what made her be like, wow, that's crazy. So
I think my Trayvon moment was a little earlier than everybody else's because I'd read a story about a black man in Beaumont getting lynched and dragged throughout the street.
Yeah.
So for
I
me,
remember that.
yeah,
for me, it was a little different because like when Trayvon happened, I was still in that moment of they can really just do whatever they want and nothing happens to them. So when I saw Trayvon happen and we all, me, you, Javi, and we all went to school together, it was that moment of like everybody was grieving and everybody was having their moment. But I'm sitting in that corner like I've seen this before. This isn't new to me. I'm not going to grieve the same way.
the reason why
But for a lot
Trayvon
of
hit
people,
me
it is
hard,
the first time.
yeah, the reason why Trayvon hits me differently is because it just shows that even once the justice is in the process, it's not over. Because again, Zimmerman's still alive to this day. So it just shows, okay, cool, we got him. Okay, he's arrested. Cool. It ain't over yet though. Because I mean, I can't even be happy to celebrate. I'm not even happy. I'm not even satisfied yet. It's like, okay, cool. But I'm not even worried about the other 3 officers. I'm like, okay, cool. If can he go through though? Like I just want. I'm like, I don't. It ain't like I just want one, but it's like, can we at least get one though? Like, are we gonna be able to get at least one of them?
And not even just the fact that Zimmerman was able to flow through the fucking justice system, but on top of that, he's not even a cop. That was just a regular man that killed an unarmed black teenager. So that's an entirely different. Like there should be no, like there's no way you can. The officer was scared. He's not an officer. There's no way you can. There should have been no way that you could judge that to where he's protected by the laws and protections of being a police officer. He's not a police officer. That is a regular man that decided to kill an unarmed teenager. So when that went just over the radar and the jury decided that Zimmerman was not to be acquitted, that's just when
Yeah.
that's
So, but just overall, well, how do you feel about that? How do y'all feel about that video? Those who didn't respond.
Okay, so y'all said there was a lady arguing with him in the beginning because I didn't
yeah.
see the whole video. What
Yeah,
was she arguing with him about?
so in the beginning, like he was saying, like y'all should go home. Basically trying to tell them to stop blocking the highway, let the officers come through, and so they can talk to them and be peaceful. And she was like, "But where do I go? Where am I supposed to grieve? What do I do?" And so that's when he just hugs her and she cries on him, and that's when the video where the segment that I played picks up. But my problem with that was like, I mean, you're saying where do you go? Where do you turn to? Where do you
It's a little selfish.
grieve
When he's
when this is
standing
his
right
brother?
there.
And
Yeah.
now he's having to comfort you when he's already going through a loss.
When it should be the other
So
way around. And the thing that got me is that like it's literally an answer to where do you go? Go to Discovery Green with everybody else
yeah.
who down the highway.
This was the day that
Like
yeah.
it literally was in the
No.
same time. Like the time for like literally the answer is actually an answer to that. It's not a oh my goodness she's in her feelings. No, that's actually a legit answer. Get out the highway and go to Discovery Green with everyone else who are peacefully protesting because you're literally causing a problem. I mean, she's honestly really lucky those cops just didn't like detain and like arrest her right then and there. I was like, dude, because the cops are like deep behind them. That's one of the funny parts of the video for me. It ain't funny, but it's just like, dude, you over here crying, but like y'all really like lucky. this is Texas. Like you said, this is Texas. Them boys shoot first and ask questions. Never. So
Like you said, they bury you in their front yard and not care and water the grass the next day. Like y'all
Mm-hmm.
you gonna be
need
fertilizer.
to.
Like we don't play that
I
down
hate
here.
to say I hate to say this because we live in Texas. It's just where we are. It's a different set of circumstances for everybody. Like in the East Coast, in Atlanta, and up north in Minnesota, it 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 was what it was. It's in that city. You have to deal with that problem immediately. And the fact that Trump will say, "Oh, when the looting starts, the shooting starts," is not. It's not a fair comparison. You shouldn't have to go to that point. And if the president, the guy who's supposed to be at the top, is saying that, what makes you think that you being in a different state and you're rioting in a state that it didn't happen in, you're rioting in a place where we're still trying to get back to normalcy, and especially in the pandemic, like everybody's still trying to get to a normalcy, some kind of normalcy. Like it's not fair to the people and it's not fair to us. And then you have the whole mixed emotions of we gonna have to burn this place down. Well, you gonna burn it down, and then somebody gonna burn us down, and they're not gonna care who was there.
Yeah, and
So
it's turning out that it's not even us that's really out here burning
yeah, that's
shit
not even
down.
us.
Exactly.
I
We
think
got
them
it on
accounts.
video. These dudes with masks is coming up, and they identified as cops trying to conceal their identities. Undercover
Did you see the
people.
snipers, dog?
Yeah, I seen the snipers on the
That was the
roof.
part that got me upset because it's different when, let's say, we having a protest and then something turns quote unquote violent and then the cops come after that. But it bothers me when before the protest even start, you already got snipers at the ready.
Yeah,
At a peaceful, it's like being like, oh, it's a peaceful protest. Yeah, get the snipers ready.
yeah,
Cause I'm just imagining like, bro, like, what if I'm out there just trying to peacefully protest, hand up like this, eyes closed, and all of a sudden my eyes don't open up again because I just randomly got shot for no damn reason
yeah.
by a
But
sniper that I can't see. Like that shit. That's what I was thinking. I'm like, dog, that would literally like throw me. Like I wouldn't. I mean, I can't be mad because I'm out of there, but like that's a crappy way to go.
mhm.
That's super unjust. And I feel like when it comes to the rioting, I'm with it all. First off, I get the point now. I feel like the Houston riot was really kind of weird because it was in little. I think it was in the middle because they did the we had the Minnesota one, which is the one that started off, and they had everybody in that mug was like, "Hey, yo, we rioting because this man ain't getting arrested." And then like less than I think 12 hours, we got results. Now I think the problem is everybody wasn't ready for those results to be that quick because I sure wasn't. Because those results came overnight. They was like, okay, cool, he arrested then.
But that's sad because we used to not getting those results that fast.
Yeah,
Let's
Right,
be
exactly.
real. Like we'd riot one day, and then like 3 weeks later, the results that we asked for during that riot happened.
mhm.
Yeah.
I think
So
this was like the quickest response to a riot,
ever, and it
or
just
say
and
since maybe the Rodney King beating
Yeah,
back
so I
in
want to
LA.
say I don't think nothing came quicker. This is like 6 hours. Like it was because they didn't end until like what 4 a.m.
mhm.
and we got results at like what 11, 12.
Well,
So
since you're at the Houston protest, Skylar, can you give us a little insight on that? How it was?
Okay. I went later on during the day, so like 5-ish until like 10. I was up there for a long time. And when I went out there, like I went to multiple crowds because everybody was moving because of like what the fuck was going on. They had people on horses. I felt like it was very unnecessary, but I could see why they were doing what they were doing. But it was quite unnecessary due to like it toned down because earlier in the day there were people jumping on police cars, breaking shit. I was like, whoa, I'm not gonna go out there during that time. So I went out there later and it was peaceful. Like we were very vocal people, but it wasn't like pushing. And we look up and there's helicopters and drones and people coming in with more and more horses, and we're just like, what the fuck is going on? And at that point, they were pushing us, and me and Rylin were just like, hey, dude, we need to move from this crowd. And as soon as we're walking away, tear gas. And it was just like, why? It was like, why is this happening? And you go to another crowd, and there's people throwing rocks, and it's just like all this chaos happened at one time. And I like that Armani brought up the people that were just trying to get home point, because, like, dude, we just got tear gas. You didn't club somebody in the chest in front of me, and you're wondering why we're running down the street, because people just started running. And they have people trying to drive home, but the mindset that we're having is just like, we need to get the fuck away from these niggas. And there was this dude that was driving, and we're like all running down the street, and he like starts honking, and we're like, dude, it's a fucking protest. We're not like thinking about, oh, maybe he just trying to get home. We're like, dude, it's a fucking protest. And people just started pushing his shit, which, you know, I wasn't too against. But at that time, you know, I wasn't too against it. But it's just like, we were sitting, at some point, we were even sitting on the curb. People just sitting on their bikes. And there was a busload of police officers get off, 30 of them deep. And horses pull up, and they're like, y'all need to move back. And we just sitting on the curb. Y'all need to move. Like, what? And they boxing us in. They cutting off roads. Like, you can park your car over there, but the police done blocked it over. So at this point, you can't even get to your vehicle. And you're trying to explain that to them, and they're like, hey, bro, you need to fucking move. Like, you need to move. Grabbing clubs and rubber bullets, and dudes are up there, and now they throwing tear gas because somebody accidentally dropped a water bottle. Like, it was at some point, it was just like, you know what, I need to get home at some point, because
And
I don't know how this is gonna turn out.
and that's the thing. I feel like from a cop's perspective, I think they scared, and I feel like they have every right to be, because I'd be scared too. Well, I wouldn't be, because I'm a real nigga, but I'm just a real nigga because I ain't scared of nothing. But
Just go.
speaking for them, they probably scared. I mean, they've literally, it's like kind of seeing the future. It's like, okay, cool. We're seeing what the protests do. We see what it can turn into. We don't want that to happen. And it's really a handful of kids. When you talk about cops, it's like every single one of them bad. You got cops who are bad. You got cops who are just like, man, fuck it. These niggas want to come down here and protest. We're gonna handle that. You got them type of cops. You got the cops who literally are just doing their job. Like, someone's like, hey, bro, you might be for the protest, but it's like, hey, I gotta work. I gotta go to work today still. And this is like, ain't nothing else happening. You gotta go protest. You gotta go sit here down here in this line and watch these kids hate you automatically just because of your job.
Yeah, it's like that video that surfaced today of that cop. He was crying. The lady was telling him, hey, man, just take a knee. Just take a knee. They swapped his ass out for a different cop with a baton.
Right out.
So, you know, they're
It's
scared.
like,
I agree with you. They're scared. They're
it's like,
scared.
if they're not scared for their life, they scared for their job, which is technically still their life. Because it's like, okay, cool. I can rather go out here, stand in this line, get water bottles thrown at me, because people just rather, if they actually really are upset, or people just fall under the trend, like, man, fuck the police. I'm just gonna throw a water bottle at these niggas because I feel like it. Like, you just hate it off
There are
rip of what
definitely
your,
people out there that you could tell.
yeah, like, you just out there automatically hate it, or you can be like, man, I'm here for y'all, and then get swapped out and lose your job. So it's like, bro, it's like the same way of how people are just trying to get home from wherever they come from. Bro, this is my job. Like, I gotta do this. This is how I put food on the table. And you hated me, I ain't even do nothing yet. So it's kind of like, in the sense of, now, I don't want to say we in the wrong or nothing like that, because I mean, well, wrong is wrong regardless. But it's now like, okay, y'all hating police brutality, but now look at y'all. Now y'all becoming monsters too. So if you have to defeat your enemy and now you become the enemy, you didn't win at the end.
Yeah, it's a lot of shit that I've seen in videos that is just completely misconstruing what the entire point of looting, rioting, burning shit down was for. Like in Minnesota, I feel like, and this is something that I probably should have, started with a while ago. But in Minnesota, not only did they loot and burn down a Target because that Target refused to serve the people that were coming from the riot, who were tear gassed and pepper sprayed and were shot with rubber bullets. They were refusing to render aid to any of those people that were trying to go in there and get milk, get water, bandage themselves up. They were refusing to help those people. So those people said, fuck you, and burn their shit down. They went down to the Minnesota precinct where those officers worked. They burnt that shit down. And like that what they were doing was not some kind of mindless, we're out here free for all, let's destroy everything. They went to the institutions that were against them. They went to the institutions that put us in this predicament to begin with, and they burned them to the ground. Do I oppose that? No. I think they have done the most effective version of this rioting that we've seen across the country, because in Houston, would I don't really give a fuck if you like loot the Galleria, because I mean, fuck them. But like, what do we really gain from senselessly just burning shit down, senselessly just going out and destroying everything? And the only reason that I'm not for that is because look at the people who are really doing it. Look at what it's saying to the media when you look at these riots and you see, oh, they're burning cop cars, they're breaking the windows of our fine establishments. But then you start noticing the trend that it's not the people you think it is. It's these undercover cops. It's these white people with masks on. It's the people that, it's the people who weren't really involved in this shit to begin with that are coming out in disguise or coming out, incognito to try to fuck shit up and, let the media eat that up and then leave. This is completely different. This is a completely different case.
And
so
with that, what I think the reason why first off, I feel like Houston didn't have no real looting. It wasn't no real raid. It was just kind of like a downtown. No one hit. I went to the guy, actually passed by the Galleria today. They was ready. The cops were scared. That mug was.
I think a couple of places in downtown, like a couple of cop cars, got destroyed.
Yeah, but that was during the daytime. I'm saying like nighttime.
That
was during the day. But like for when it comes to the riot, again, like the initial riot was like, hey, Target isn't rendering aid. We're gonna hit them. Boom. The precinct where it's happening from, we're gonna hit them. Boom. And then the case happened overnight. And literally, I feel like because that night that happened, that's when Houston was like, Black Lives Matter Houston was like, hey, we're gonna have I think it was a day and a half actually. They was like, hey, we're gonna have a protest next day. Protest happened, but during the same day that they accepted that protest, he got arrested. So it was kind of like not too late for a protest. It's never too late. First off, remember his name. It's never too late. But it's like, okay, cool. I feel like the sense of anger, not toned down per se, but it's like, okay, cool. Now, what are you protesting for? Okay, you want to say you're protesting to remember his name? That's fine. But what are you rioting for now? Because it's not like y'all are Chicago and Atlanta and New York, who are now, their whole target goal is, okay, cool. Now we rioting because where the other three at? That's what they're rioting for now. But for Houston's protest, like, what were y'all doing the extremes? It was literally senseless. Because I mean, New York, I heard they out doing things crazy, but they whole thing is, hey, we doing this because until the other three don't get arrested, we gonna keep them going. Okay, cool. Minneapolis, like, whoa, what was it? Was like, hey, it started it. But Houston specifically, it's just like, what were y'all doing? It was literally senseless. And good thing, not good thing, but nothing really happened though. So it wasn't no real looting. But I'm 100%. I will hit that Louis though. In 1 week, let me find out nothing happened. Let me find that man got off. Let me find the other three still ain't been persecuted. I'm hitting everybody getting rollies for Christmas. I'm about to give me an early birthday present. I'm not playing, bro. I'm with that. I'm with all
for
that.
real. Honestly, some of the rioting and looting is senseless, but at the same time, sometimes you just gotta take a moment out of your day to say fuck capitalism. Okay, fuck these white people with these $1 billion brands that don't give a fuck about you and your rights. Fuck capitalism. because they extort the labor from the middle class, the working class, the poor people, and they make millions off of them. So if we steal from the rich and give it back to the niggas, I
Yeah, I'm
don't
gonna
have
hit
a
their
problem with
pockets.
that.
I'm about to hit y'all pockets, boy. Y'all about to be mad at me.
So
I'm gonna have to say that I'm with the family. I'm 100% behind the family. Whatever the family is going through at that point.
yeah,
I'm not
of course.
trying to go out and rob and loot and do all that thing.
All right.
I'm strictly with the family in this one, where if you feel that the person that you grew up with would want to be represented like this, that's what I'm going to follow.
Yeah.
But I feel like now
I'm not gonna go out of my way to just like
it's to the
destroy
point
stuff.
where it sounds so selfish, but it kind of is, because it's like, okay, hey, yo, it is about Floyd, but at the same time, it's like, at the same time, it ain't just you. Like, it's like, I don't know how to explain this correctly, but it's like, yo, this is like Black Lives Matter as well. It's like, yo, this has happened so long that I'm tired. Like, if y'all don't get this case right, it's literally just kind of like, America, get this case right, or we gonna make you get it right.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's kind of just like, it's not like for example, if this would have happened when Trayvon got hit, like, we would have killed Zimmerman. Like, off rip. If this would happen, bro, Zimmerman, I'm saying to this day, someone should hit Zimmerman. If I had the money, I'd put the hit out. That's just me personally. But
if I lived in Florida, y'all would never see me again.
Come for me, right here.
If I lived in Florida, y'all would never see me again. I'm smooth taking the L for the team.
No, for real. I'll take that L. Because what, I'm going to go down in history books? What's the bad out of it? Yeah, I died, but I killed that nigga too, so what's up? Guy, I'm going to have to answer for that? Yeah, I killed the racist.
Yeah.
I could be like, well,
I killed the racist.
Go ahead, then.
Come on in. Come on in.
I mean, I can't. Jesus, he got that. I ain't. Armani.
Armani.
Also, how do y'all feel about the like some of the celebrities that are like, either one, they're being pressured to say something, or they haven't said anything yet?
We're just gonna talk about that.
I feel like we gotta use a whole other episode for that shit,
because there's so much stuff going on.
So much shit to dissect between what Donald Trump is saying, what other political leaders are saying, what celebrities are saying.
Going off right now.
What the Dream said. What the Dream said was completely fucking stupid.
I didn't even hear what the Dream said.
So we gotta take some time.
What Cool J said, so we're not ready for that one yet.
We gotta take a moment to pull together all the stupid shit that people have said about this.
No, the valid stuff too.
What I was gonna bring up is the next point, like you were saying. It is, and no disrespect to saying this, of course, but it is a little bit bigger than just George Floyd, because the case that's been really on my mind is Breonna Taylor. And the reason why I'm thinking about Breonna Taylor, for those of you who don't know, Breonna Taylor was murdered in her home, in her bed at night. She was shot 8 times. And what happened was, she was a family member of somebody who had an ongoing investigation with the police in, I think it was Kentucky. And in Kentucky, they have this thing called a no-knock warrant, where they don't have to warn you when they're coming in your house. They can just bust that fucking door down and come in there. So, her boyfriend, Kenneth, I believe his name is Kenneth, he, they were sleeping in the bed at night and somebody breaks their door down. So he did the one thing that people would naturally do. He went for his gun to defend himself. And, he let off a warning shot. It just so happened to catch an officer in the leg, but the officers did not make their presence known. So how would he know? But yes, after he put off his warning shot and it just so happened to hit an officer in his leg, they unloaded 8 times and they killed Breonna Taylor. Unfortunately, she didn't survive. And he called 911, and on the 911 call, you can hear him saying, "Somebody broke into my house. They shot my girlfriend. They killed her. I need y'all to come out." There was no sign. There was no acknowledgement. Like, the police presence was not announced. They came into their house unannounced. I
hate the whole different states have different rules, because I feel like, did no one else see breaking into random people's house with no warrant and no knock might actually be a problem when we also have the right to bear arms and the right to actually, if someone's on your property to defend yourself. No one thought that may counteract each other and might cause a problem. Anywho, man, look,
It's Kentucky.
Yeah.
it's
So
stupid.
with that situation, and then not only is Breonna Taylor, she's never coming back, but now Kenneth Walker is in prison for attempted murder of a police officer. But he didn't know it was a police officer, and it was a bullet wound to the leg. And now Kenneth Walker is about to probably serve life in prison for attempted murder of a police officer. And what's bothering me is I can't imagine a situation when I'm laying in my bed with my girl next to me. I'm laying in the bed with Sion. We are sleeping, and somebody barges in my house, and I don't attempt to defend myself. There's never going to be a situation where someone comes in my house and I'm not going to protect her. So, with that being said, I'm thinking about this logically in my head, and there's no other way I would have done it. There's no other way I would have done it. And that man is never going to get the woman he loves back. That the people, those family members. Oh, and I forgot the most fucked up part about this case. Before they went into their house, before they raided their house and killed Breonna Taylor, they had already found the suspect in custody. So there was no need for them to search for the suspect in Breonna Taylor's house. There was no need for them to look for evidence in Breonna Taylor's house because they had the suspect in custody already. But they proceeded with the raid. For
And I
what
don't, and
reason?
I don't, and I don't want to hear that. And people, cause I just feel like I'm gonna see it and it's gonna make me want to hit somebody. I don't want to hear that. Well, they didn't know because police literally have. If
They
anyone has
have
the
they
world's
have
best
open
communication,
lines of
it's the
communication.
police.
They have open lines of
Open
communication
lines of
at all
communication. It's
times.
literally
At
we.
all
They literally say,
times.
I forgot the code actually, but it's literally like on some movie. We caught the culprit.
Yeah,
We
there's
like it's no
if they need to
come to you.
contact you, there's no hesitation. They will let it be known. So that part of the situation, and that's the part that I learned the most recently when I was looking at this case, is that they had already found the suspect that they were looking for before they raided Breonna Taylor's house. And it's just eating me up because what do you do? What do you do in a situation like that? What can you do when you are in your home and the police can come into your home unannounced and you can't defend yourself? Because who's to say, even if he didn't put off that one warning shot, that they weren't going to shoot 8 times? Who's to say there's so much about this situation that's just inevitable? They have laws that are actively out there and working for them to come in your house unannounced, without forewarning, just unwarranted. No knock. It's literally called the no knock policy. So a no knock warrant. So they can come into your house while you're sleeping in the middle of the night, like burglars, like thieves, like thugs, and murder you in your bed when you attempt to defend yourself against an unannounced squad of people that are in your home. What do you do? What do you do as a black person in this country when even in your own home, in your own bed, they will kill you? What do you do? I don't know. I don't know what else to say about that.
I'm shooting them niggas. I'm taking one of you niggas out of me. On me, on wave, I will. Don't play with me. On
It's
wave.
just
Let me get this Glock. I'm telling y'all, I'm about to be having guns on walls, guns and swords. For real. And I'm not. Look, listen. I ain't afraid to take a life, especially when necessary. Let somebody life be on the line.
I
It's,
just and it's
that's
bothering me because I understand what you're saying completely.
because
Like
it's nothing
there
else
it
he could
would
do. It's nothing. It's nothing else he
there's
could have. Like he's done the correct thing. If anything, if the justice system doesn't let this man go, I feel like I know that's I think I actually seen a post where there are lawyers and things out there who are like, hey, nah, we're gonna get him out of there. Um, hey, look, listen, I'm riding for that too. I'm still in the Louis belt for you, cause listen, that
that's
don't make no
wrong.
sense. That
That's
don't make no
wrong.
sense. That law shouldn't exist in the first place. I think that law actually exists. I think I've heard a no knock policy, but it's so much that goes through when you can no knock.
Hmm.
It's not like, oh well, okay, no knock. It's supposed to be used for like the most like life or death cases. Like there's a terrorist on the run and we don't know where he at. He's in this area. Yo, we got to come in here and check and see if he in here. We got, hey, everybody, like it's supposed to be used for like the most serious of cases. And especially if y'all already in custody, then why y'all didn't hear that? Why y'all communicators off? If y'all communicators off, that's jail time. That's illegal first off. Why y'all had them off in the first place? Y'all can't do that. So yeah, man. Um, so much more we gotta talk about. We're gonna be back tomorrow or Monday, one of the two, depending on the man. Just come back tomorrow, depending on what time it is. Man, closing remarks.
Did y'all have anything y'all wanted to say about Breonna Taylor?
Nothing to be
I'm,
said,
I'm just
man.
speechless, man. 'Cause that's a wild story that I haven't even broken into because I've been over here in Austin. I've been moving stuff,
Yeah.
helping out a family member. So for me, this is my first time of hearing of Breonna Taylor. So now I'm probably going to do some research and
Yeah.
see the whole case. And if whatever they've released is what I have to go off of as of
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah. Well, um, if that's all, then I would like to close out today's episode of the 1111 podcast with, a word from none other than George Floyd himself. Um, so let's take a listen.
Right, G, what's happening? Just want to get you out real quick. I just want to say, man, that I got my shortcomings, my flaws. I ain't better than nobody else. But man, the shootings is going on, man. I don't care what hood you from, man. Where you at, man? I love you and God love you, man. Put them guns down, man. That ain't what it is. You know, grow up this, man. Y'all hold y'all head up, man. You got parents out here sending plates, man, trying to bury their kids, man. Think about it, man. Love y'all.
So just a word for us to think about in times like these. So rest in peace, George Floyd, and
This bitch Breonna Taylor.
rest in peace, Ahmaud Arbery, and all the other victims of police brutality. Thank y'all for tuning in.